around. It's always a great event. Always a great event. I'm showing a bunch of different things. I'll go through them real quick, because I know we got another speaker coming up pretty soon. What I did bring was the MKE1 lavalier, which we introduced last year. One of the smallest lavaliers on the market. And the key was we really wanted to build something that was not going to get sweated out on stage, which is always an issue. And we tested it with our MKE2s, which have been great, but could be better. And the MKE1 has been outstanding in handling the sweat that a lot of actors get into as they're out there on stage. You can see the size of it, extremely small. The way we do it is on top of the capsule, there's a perforated membrane right over the top of the capsule. And if you look at the size of that capsule, you're really talking about designing with a microscope. Okay, so there's a perforated membrane above the capsule, and it shuns the moisture away from the capsule. Okay, this one is the mic that you will hear on the production of Shrek. They actually mount two of them in the creases of his cheek, one here and one here, and he runs two transmitters. These two the SK5212s. Okay, in the costume, and right in the cheek they have the two microphones. The cable itself, very thin cable, but is reinforced with Kevlar. Okay, so it's a very strong cable as well, even though it looks like it's going to fall apart because it's so thin. It's a very, very strong cable. We have different accessories for mounting them and threading them through the hair and hiding them, and you can see how small it is. Also comes in different colors, beige as well, and we're going to have a brown color as well. So come and take a look at this one, and I could probably plug it in. I think I have a headphone back here if you want to listen to it. The SK5212, which I mentioned, one of the smaller belt packs on the market. What's nice about this one, two things that I like best, is it runs on a single AA battery, okay, and two RF output modes. You have a 10 milliwatt output mode and a 50 milliwatt. And a lot of times on stage, since we have our antennas fairly close, you can get away with the 10 milliwatt, because the lower power will help in terms of intermodulation interference when you're doing a lot of different channels. And typically you're doing 40, 50 channels on a Broadway play. So 10 milliwatt, I can get 10 hours of battery life on a single AA. Okay, if I do need to pump it up to 50 milliwatt and I need a little bit more range, I get 5 hours of battery life on a single AA. Okay, so extremely efficient DC to DC converter in here to get every ounce of the battery out of it. But what I really like about the transmitter is that I have 70 dB of gain adjustment on the mic freeze. Okay, very important now because think about the projection that we're getting from the actors out there on stage. Right, they're really screaming and they're singing extremely loud. We need to have as much headroom at the beginning stage of our signal as much as possible. So we want a lot of headroom on the transmitter, and with 70 dB, it gives you a lot of latitude to adjust the gain at a volume that you need, and you're not going to overload the transmitter before it even gets to your board. Okay? So come and take a look at that. I have the 3732 receiver with us as well. It's a 90 megahertz wide bandwidth receiver that is user selectable, so you can choose any frequency within 90 megahertz. And as we all know, with all the digital transmission happening and other things happening with FCC, we're trying to give you as many options as possible to find the clear frequencies. The 3732 also has an internal scanner in it, so you can scan your theater and look and see what kind of RF frequencies are coming into the theater. Okay, are there other broadcast channels that are getting into the theater? Right? Typically there is, but it depends on the building. I've been in some theaters where you have a lot of great attenuation and the local broadcast signals are not getting into them. But how do you know unless you scan them? Now, you can't always afford to have a very expensive scanner, RF scanner, but if we have with a receiver, I can scan using the software that comes with the unit, and I can see what my antennas are seeing before I even turn on my transmitters. And then I can choose a frequency that's going to work. Okay? And then I can get those frequencies to work and the production to go straight and not have any problems. The other one I wanted to show, this is brand new, we just showed it at NAB, is the 2000 series. Okay, it's a new transmitter design on the handheld. It's 75 megahertz wide bandwidth. Also has an internal scanner on it. And we have a selectable transmit output power on the belt packs and the handhelds that go from 10 milliwatt to 30 milliwatt, 50 milliwatt, and 100 milliwatt if you need to get that extra range. Now, again, for on stage use, you're probably not going to need to get to that 100 milliwatt. But if you're doing a production where you're doing a music production, or a band that's going to go out on a catwalk, he's going to fly across above the audience, and maybe we need to get a little bit more power, and then maybe we're going to bring in an antenna that has an internal booster on it as well, so we get a little bit more gain and pick up that guy that's flying across the sky someplace, in some arena someplace. Or maybe we're going to do it to pick up something in sports arena, where I need to pick up the ref down below, or I need to pick up somebody that's doing NASCAR and they're down in the pits, and I need to pick them up as well. So we can increase the output power if we need to, and then I have an antenna that has a built-in power booster, and I can change the setting on there up to 15 dB of gain and change my RF gain on the antenna as well. So also remember, Sennheiser is well known for our wireless microphones, but we also make instrument microphones as well. Just look over into the pit of the orchestra and take a look at the mics down there. You'll see AKGs and Shures, but you'll see a lot of Sennheiser, and you'll see a lot of Neumann as well. So there's a lot of choices of microphones. Take a look at what we have. I did bring the MKH 8000 series, which has been a favorite lately of guys that are recording orchestral work. It goes up to 40 and 50 kilohertz, depending on the capsule design that you get. 50 kilohertz, who can hear 50 kilohertz? Very good, there's one person. Right?
It's not on at the moment, though.
So it's really a step ahead again with capsule design, and we haven't discussed what we've done with this capsule. Extremely flat response, low impedance microphone. This is an omnidirectional. It's been used for a Decatree setup over orchestras. A beautiful, natural sounding microphone. So lots of things that we have. We have literature CDs. If you just want to pick that up, it's got all our products in it.